everybody, welcome back to my channel, Creativity and Inspiration. I'm Lisa. If you're new, welcome. I am so happy you found us. Today we are talking die cuts. What are they and how do I use them? You know, it's kind of interesting. When I started doing junk journals around 2016, 17, die cuts were a big deal. Everybody was using them when you would get Happy Mail or do swaps. You were always getting die cuts. And I've noticed over the last probably 4 years that the die cuts have slowly dwindled down. They're not included in swaps as much. They're not included in videos as much. So I thought, you know, let's talk about them. Let's get them out again in the consciousness of crafters everywhere and start using them. So anyway, we're talking die cuts today. It's going to be fun and I have a lot of information to share with you. Now let's get into this die cut video. Okay guys, so for those that maybe don't know, what are die cuts? Die cuts but they're like metal shapes and they can be anything. This is a new one I just got. Hint, hint, maybe a video that you're going to see this weekend. But they're metal shapes and you can run them through a machine, or this type runs through a type of machine and it cuts this shape out of paper. And it cuts these shapes, or one shape, out of paper. And there's all different kinds of die cuts, all different sizes. There's all sorts of different machines that use this kind I just showed you. And those are called manual, or there are some automatics that use those. Now there's also the Cricut Maker and probably Cricut Joy that also cut out die cuts. But that's more from using your computer. You pick your shape and you you send it to your Cricut Maker and it cuts it out. Now the Cricut Maker and Cricut Joy, they require subscriptions, so that's kind of more expensive. Where I don't know, you know me, I like to be as inexpensive as possible but still have quality, and I prefer this type, and I like to run it through my very first die cutter, which is the Cuttlebug. They actually don't make this anymore. They discontinued this in 2019. It's the same company it's a Cricut Cuttlebug, so same thing as Cricut Joy, Cricut Maker, all that. But it's manual. You see it has its little handle. And here, let me show you real quick kind of how it folds down. And then we'll come back and I'll give you a full example. But it folds down like that. And then I have, what do you call these? Sheets, hard sheets of plastic that you run through, you put on here, and then you roll it through, and the pressure using your little metal die cuts the shapes out of paper. And like I said, I'll do an example in a little bit. Okay, the Cuttlebug, this one was discontinued in 2019. There are other machine brands that do the same thing as this, okay? And I'm going to show you a few on Amazon. I am no way promoting one over the other. If I promoted any one, it would be this one. I love this thing. And honestly, I would trade this. I would trade 1,000 of these for my Cricut Maker. That thing just annoys the heck out of me. But I'm going to show you how to use that as well, so you'll have an idea of how they both work. Now, the die cut manual ones, or there's also automatic ones that are small though, like the one I just had up here, the Cuttlebug. As you can see, these are different brands, but they all have the handle like the one I just showed you, and you have different price ranges. The sizzix is the most popular. It's a very name brand one, and they are the most expensive. As you can see, this is the sizzix Big Shot, and it's $156. This is the sizzix Sidekick Starter Kit, so it comes with some die cuts. It comes with the little plastic things that you need to push it through, and it comes with an embossing folders, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. And this one's $52. It's all manual, just like my little Cricut Cricut Cuttlebug. And I would love this one if I didn't have mine. I just like the manual, okay? But that's me. Some people don't like the manuals because, you know, it's an arm workout. Being a personal trainer, I don't think that's a bad thing. Okay, but there's other brands. This is another sizzix. Now, that's just the machine only is $95. So the sizzix, being a name brand, is more expensive. But here again is a portable manual die cutting and embossing sizzix, and it's $41 to $49. Now this one is an off-brand, and it's $39.99, which is not bad. Here's another one. So as you can see, there's a lot of options out there. And here's the acrylic cutting pads that you need to use on these manual ones, which we'll get to in a minute. So the little manual ones are great. Now this is a cutter and embossing machine, which the Cuttlebug will do too. This one, though, is electronic. It's like a Cricut Joy. And, of course, it's $168.85. So when you get into the ones that aren't manual, your price just basically doubles and more. Okay, so really, if you're just starting out, I would totally recommend getting a manual one versus, unless you know that you're going to love it. You know, use somebody else's and you know you're going to love it. These are some die cuts. And they're just, again, the metal things I showed you, the metal shapes, and you just run them through these machines and they cut out the shapes. Now the great thing with the little one, with mine, and with all of them like this, if the shape will fit through the machine, it doesn't have to be the brand that the machine is, okay? And I'm going to show you here. Okay, this was a no-name brand, and okay, this is the one I showed you earlier, and this is a no-name brand. Okay, bunch of coffee cups, teacups, hint, 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 hot chocolate cups. This one is actually a sizzix brand die cut, but it works in my little Cuttlebug here, which is great. And this is a bunch of different sizes. Remember, I said they can be all different sizes. And these are, oops, and this one has some birds, and I'll show you some little ones. It has words, like that. So you get all different sizes, all different, it can be shapes, it can be shapes you recognize, shapes you don't, you know, just different ones. This is the word spring, okay? And it is backwards because remember, it'll cut out forwards. Okay, and then this is the Cuttlebug brand. And look, those are huge. You've got a key. I've got some vintage scissors in here. I've got a bird cage. So they come in all sizes, all shapes, whatever you possibly could want. Now, let me show you how this is going to work. You're like, okay, that's a cool gadget, but what do I do with it? Well, I'm going to show you. So, I'm going to turn it this way so you can see. And it goes either way, no wrong way. Okay. So, I'm going to use the coffee die cuts. Like I said, hint, hint, hint. And I'm going to break them apart. Sometimes they come hooked together like this, and sometimes they don't, just depending on where you get them. I got this off of Amazon. I'll link it below. I just don't want to bend them. They're not sharp, but they have, let's see if I can show you this. They're not sharp, but they are raised, so I don't know if you can see the raised edges, so when all the pressure pushes them down on the paper, they actually cut it. So they're not sharp, they're not razor or anything, they're not dangerous. I mean, I'm holding it, you know, it's just like a little piece of plastic metal. Okay, let me get my shapes here real quick. So this weekend I am doing a warm winter beverage journal with recipes and everything. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so to get this to cut, what you do is you have acrylic plate, a big, I don't know what this is. It's just a big plastic block. You have 2 acrylic plates. Oh, that's the directions because I had to refresh. 2 acrylic plates and then this rubber mat that I've been using as a backing tool. Okay, and all you do is, all right, to layer these for cutting, it says put your big block first, which I did. Then you put the mat, and then you put one of these acrylic plates down. Then you put your die cuts down on top of that acrylic sheet. Then you put your paper down, and I'm going to use some music paper and some decorative paper because I want that layered look. I want it to have depth and interest, and this is to show that you can use different papers. You don't have to use just scrapbook paper or just, you know, you can use any paper you want. And I'm going to do the music paper first, and then you put the last acrylic plate down on top of that. Then you hold it together and you push it in here and get it where it goes, and then you turn your handle, get it going, and then you turn your handle and you just handle it through, and it's really not hard. I'm doing this one-handed. Okay, and I just rolled it through like that. Then you lift up your acrylic sheet, and there's your paper, and how cool is that? Now you have a stencil if you want to use it for that. And the great thing is the die cut cuts out all the little shapes. Like, they had like a tag in the middle of this one, see? And this one had like a heart in it. Okay, so when I get this, my die cut those out. How cool is that? Now we're going to do the decorative paper. So I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to make sure I have it layered correctly again. That, and then my die cuts down. Make sure your die cut is facing with the ridges up. My paper on top, and then my second acrylic sheet on top of that paper. And you want to make sure it's how you want it. Okay. And then you do the same thing again. You feed it through like a big sandwich. Okay. And once it starts through, get it in there really good, and then you just start, oops. Then once you get it in there and it's caught, you know, you start, oops. You start just winding it through. There. I'm at an awkward angle because it's really not that hard to do. I'm just awkward because I'm trying to show you guys. And then you bring it over here and you lift it up, and then there's your stencil in the pretty paper. And then you just pop it out. If it's stuck to your cup, that's fine. You just pop it out. And you have like little hearts too that came out, because remember that was in the center. I'm going to put those over there, and then you have the most adorable little cups. How cute. Now, what do you do with something like this? Well, I'm going to show you. Really, you're only limited by your imagination. Okay, that's what limits you in anything we do is, you know, what you can think of or not think of. Okay, I'm going to move the cuttlebug out of the way. Its little job is done. So how can we use these? Well, here is a tag, and it says coffee over everything. I stamped that early, layered it up. Stamped that earlier, layered it up, and then I just liked her. She looked like she was, you know, thinking about life, when in reality, she's thinking about her cup of coffee. So we're going to put the first coffee cup right there. And then I'm going to take the one that matches it and kind of put it up over to the side of it. So you see it, but it's not front and center. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the bigger one, only I'm going to put it on the top over her head. These also have a little slit. And the die cut cuts all these little details, okay? So it's really, you know, very cool. And then you can offset that one as well. Or maybe I want to flip that one and put the darker greeny color showing. Then you can tell she's thinking about her cup of coffee. Isn't that cool? And this, like I said, is a hint to what we're going to be doing this weekend. Now, what else can you do with these? Well, I showed you the sizzix set a minute ago, and it had the birds on it. You can also use die cuts to create art, mixed media art in particular, and I created this. So there's a lot of things you can use die cuts for. You could also use them on, of course, cards, tags, journaling cards, in your pages, on covers, you know, like I said, you're only limited by your imagination. Now, let's talk about how the Cricut works, the Cricut Maker, okay? And this was a gift a few years ago, and I must say, I appreciate the thought, but I just really love my little cuttlebug. How the Cricut Maker works. And again, like I said, on the Cricut Maker, you have to have a subscription. And what it does is you will choose an image in here. I chose a free image. That way, you have to pay for a subscription, and then sometimes you have to pay for images. I chose a free image, which is teacups and everything. It automatically puts it on a screen, and then you choose, do you want to do, and then it asks you what kind of board you want to cut on, and the boards you cut on are mats. It'll ask you what kind of mat you want to cut on, and the mats are what you get when you get your Cricut Maker. They're cutting mats, just like when we cut stuff out, and there's all different colors for different things, okay? But here is a generic one. And what I would do is I'd put my piece of paper. These are sticky. You put your piece of paper, it sticks on here, okay? Then you come over here behind you. You come over to your Cricut Maker and you pick it up like this. You turn it on. It's not plugged in, but you turn it on. Your paper's in here. You feed it through here. When this is set, you go back and you say you're ready, and then the slide will blink, the C will blink. You press that, it goes through and cuts out your images. So this is a lot more work to me, and like I said, it has the expense of the subscription. Now, some people love this because they can cut multiple things out. Now, some people love that because it can cut multiple things out. It's way fast. You know, you don't have to crank it, all of that. I love my little cuttlebug. I love my little cuttlebug. I think it's absolutely awesome. And you can use so many different die cuts. Like I said, I'll show you another. And you can use so many different die cuts. It doesn't have to be the Cuttlebug brand, which is no longer, you know, made. Which, hello, Cricut, you should bring this back, definitely. Okay, again, I've used sizzix to create that art I showed you. Now, another thing you can do with these is embossing. And embossing is where you put paper inside these little plastic folders. And again, you stack the folders with the acrylic sheets, and they run through, and then they'll give whatever pattern is inside the folder will be on your paper. How cool is that? And again, these are not all Cricut brand. This is sizzix right there. That one's Cuttlebug. This one's Darius. This one is Lifestyle Crafts. sizzix. Okay, so you get the point. You don't have to have, it's not, what do you call it? It's not brand specific, okay? It's very versatile, and I'm sure those other ones are as well, because they're built along this line. And why Cricut got rid of this, I'll never know. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sizzix one, and it's got that pattern inside it, and I'm going to put that and I'm going to run an index card through there. Okay, for the embossing, your paper doesn't have to just fit in the folder, as you can see. It can be long. It just has to be able to go through here without being wrinkled. Okay, so what you do is you do A, B, B, and the folder. So to layer for the embossing, you don't need the foam piece. That's this piece, the rubber piece. That's just for die cuts. And you use the block, then you use acrylic sheet, and then you put the embossing folder, and then the acrylic sheet, okay? And that's our sandwich for this. Same way again, you just press it in until it gets caught, and then you just push it through, and see, it's very easy to do. Woo-hoo. Okay, it's just the pressure that creates the cuts, that creates the design. And how cool is that? Isn't that neat and so easy? Didn't have to take time setting up anything. It is just boom and it's done. So guys, I hope you liked learning about die cuts or getting a refresher on die cuts, what you can do with them. Also, just seeing what embossing is and how it changes the look of a plain index card, piece of paper, into something really gorgeous. Again, I want to thank all the new people for being here. Welcome. I want to thank everybody that comes back every video. You are much appreciated. You're awesome. If you like this video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment down below. Have you ever used a cuttlebug, a sizzix, or do you have a Cricut Joy, Cricut Maker? What is your preference? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little bell, because guess what? This weekend we are having a hot beverage journal for winter. It's going to be really cool. We'll build it together and it'll be cool. I will see you this weekend. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.